the shoulder bridge exercise, which is a really good exercise for mobilising the spine and looking at any stiff areas. But in terms of running, it's really important because it fires up the glutes, the bigger glutes, the glute max, and also the hamstring muscles. So a really good exercise for us to consider. So we're going to take rest on the mat, and you might want to remove the head block for this exercise so that you don't get more weight on the neck. We're going to begin in our rest position. So we've got the feet hip width apart, a little space between the floor and the lower back, ribs melting down towards the waist and collarbones nice and broad. Now from here, I'm going to set the centre, and I'm going to start to peel away from the mat, starting at the tailbone. So you'll notice I flatten the lower back into the mat and my tailbone starts to lift. I'm going to continue to peel away as if I'm lifting up one bone at a time. I'm going to come to where I feel comfortable, and I'm just going to make sure that I've got most of my weight going through my heels and not shifting up onto my shoulders and my neck, because I want to protect that area. From here, I'm just glancing down at my pelvis and just checking that the pelvis is level. If you've got weakness on one side of the glutes, you may find that your pelvis has dropped down to one side. So you want to squeeze and maintain that nice level pelvis. So we're going to lower back down and repeat. So as I say, really nice getting that back moving, but it's about firing up the glutes and the hamstrings. Keep that centre set throughout. We're going to do one more, and we're going to hold here. So we're going to challenge the stability with leg movements. So I'm going to start just by lifting alternate heels off of the mat. Straight away I can feel my hamstrings having to work harder and a bit more of a challenge to keep that pelvis level. But I'm able to do it, so I know that I could challenge myself a little bit more. I'm just going to take a little bit of a rest from here. And then I'm going to come back up, and we're going to come into a scissors exercise. So I'm floating one foot off the mat, coming into a tabletop and placing that back down, making sure that that pelvis is staying nice and level. So again, tendency as we lose that contact is for that hip to sink down. Squeeze from both glutes and you'll see that lift. Good. Another place that we could take it is to use a long lever. So the longer the lever, the more we're going to challenge that stability because it's a heavier load. And also we're getting that reciprocal leg movement, which is what we get in running. Now as I'm challenging myself a little bit more, my body is wanting for me to push down into the mat. So I'm going to place my hands, palms up so that I can't cheat. Fab, and then lowering down. Now if you find as you peak down towards your knees and your pelvis, your knees are drifting in, you could place a looped TheraBand around your knees, and that'll give you a little bit of feedback just to push out into. And that's going to fire up a little bit more those outer glutes, those glute meads that we spoke about with our clamp exercise. So this, in essence, should make things a little bit easier for you, as it's giving your body more information. However, if you want a bit more of a challenge, you can place your feet onto unstable surfaces like some cushions or some Pilates balls. I'm going to get rid of one of those because they're not the same, not pumped up the same. And then again, coming up into the bridge. And you can see how that is giving me a little bit of an unstable surface to work against. Now if you know that you've got a bit of weakness in your hamstring, a really nice thing to work with is a gym ball if you've got one, or if not, a foam roller. And you're going to come into your bridge with the calves resting on the gym ball. So away from the gym ball, and then we're just going to draw the heels towards the bottom for a hamstring curl. And that's going to bias those hamstrings a little bit more. Now if this feels like quite a challenge, you can just start with a smaller movement and work towards bringing that ball right up to that bottom. Okay, and then slowly lower down. Now always stretch out the back after you've done some bridges, by just bringing the knees towards the chest.